it's Emelyne. So today I'm going to do a story time video. I've been wanting to do this one for a while since I feel like it's something that happened in my life that most people know about except for you guys, so I thought I would share this with you guys. Before we actually get into this video, I'm sure you guys are probably like, where the heck are you? I am in my grandparents right now, actually. I'm in Long Beach Island, so I wasn't sure what type of video I wanted to post today. I was gonna do a vlog, but then I was like, I should just do a story time. So I'm just filming in here. So I'm also filming on my vlog camera, so the quality might not be as good as my other videos. Not really sure, but we'll see how it goes. But if you guys are new to my channel, then be sure to subscribe. If you guys are new, then definitely subscribe so you guys can get notified whenever I upload a new video. So if you guys want to learn about how I fell through a glass table, then just keep watching. So today's story time is going to be how I fell through a glass table. And this is a real story time. Like, this actually happened. I really fell through a glass table. It's not going to be one of those endings where I'm like, I chopped off my finger, and then at the end of the video I'm like, oh, I almost chopped off my finger. No, I full force fell through a glass table. I will show you guys the damage it did to me. So when I was younger, you guys need to like know some backstory before I get into this. When I was younger, I was really into dance. My mom started me in tap and ballet as soon as I was able to. I think the youngest, honestly, I don't even know how young or old you have to be to join a dance class. But I started, I think, when I was either 2 or 3. I started like super young. So I was really into dance. I used to always watch Shirley Temple movies when I was little because my parents kind of like had me always watching like old movies and stuff, which is why I am obsessed with vintage things now. But yeah, so I grew up watching Shirley Temple, and if you guys know Shirley Temple, you guys know that she's known for all of her dancing that she did, and just she was so adorable. She'd always be tap dancing and all this kind of stuff. So pretty much, like I said, I was just really obsessed with tap dancing, and I was also really obsessed with ballet. So when I would go to class, I would come home and I would try out my tap moves. And I thought I was really good at it. Honestly, I was probably just like shuffling my feet back and forth to like make it look like I was like tap dancing really cool and like really fast like Shirley Temple does. But yeah, so one day I was home and I wanted to practice. So basically what I did, I was like, all right, I'm gonna practice. So I went into the basement. I have dog fur on my lip. But I went into the basement and I put on my tap shoes and I started tap dancing. So now the issue with the basement is that we had carpet. So I would get so mad. Like, my biggest pet peeve when I was like 2 or 3 was that I couldn't hear my tap shoes clicking and clacking. So I was so mad that I couldn't hear my shoes going and making that cool tap noise like all the people in the movies did. So I decided to give up. I was like, whatever, I'm not gonna keep tap dancing if I can't hear this. So I hopped in my car, and now I'm sure most of you like 90s kids, I think they actually still make these today. I feel like I saw them in a commercial the other day, but those like little like yellow and like red, or maybe they're orange and red, those like little cars. I feel like we all had them. So I have one of those in my basement, so I hop into it and I start like pushing myself around in it, and I'm like just looking around, and so much dog hair. So then I see the glorious glass table. So now this table, I don't know why, but I had a huge obsession with it when I was younger. It was just like a wicker table, but then on the top it had a sheet of glass. So I'm like riding around in my car and I see the table and I'm like, oh, I love this table so much. And then I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, the top of the table's hard and it's glass. So you're gonna be able to hear my shoes if I go on the table and start tap dancing. And I was like, this is the most brilliant idea I've ever had. Like, I was so excited. I thought I was the smartest person in the world for coming up with this. So I get out, like I remember this part so distinctly. I don't know how I remember it so distinctly because I was so little, but I just remember it so distinctly. So I get out of the car and I pretended I was like parking the car. So I park the car, and then I start to get out of the car, and when I get out of the car, I'm like hopping on top of the glass table. So I get on top of the glass table and I'm standing there for like a few minutes, not minutes, but maybe like seconds, and I'm like, okay, cool. I can do this. And because like I was so little, I didn't weigh that much. So it's not like I'm gonna hop on a glass table and it's gonna like break immediately. So I'm on the glass table and I start to tap dance. And like you can start to hear the clicks, the clacks, and I'm so excited. So then I start to go really hard and my feet are just going like doo-doo-doo-doo, like a little happy feet penguin. And all of a sudden, I remember this so distinctly. Oh my gosh. What happens next? I'm going really, really fast, like happy feet, like I said. And then all of a sudden, I just tumble. The glass just breaks underneath me. I literally tumble through the table. And I was just like in shock. I remember I didn't even cry. I was just like, and I remember thinking like, oh my God, my favorite table. But I also remember thinking like, oh my gosh, what the heck just happened? So my parents hear it, and now my parents, you guys are probably gonna be like, what irresponsible parents to like leave their kid alone. But like my parents were literally like, they were like upstairs and they left me in the basement to just tap dance. Like there was nothing really that could have gone wrong in the basement. Like no one ever assumed that I would have hopped on top of a table and started tap dancing. You know, I was like 3, like I said, so it's like a reasonable age to like be okay. It wasn't that long. It's not, you know, whatever. So my parents immediately run down, and I remember just thinking to myself like, oh my gosh, they're gonna be so mad at me. So they run downstairs. My mom is freaking out because my mom hates blood. And anytime I tell her this story now, she gets so crazy. I was actually asking her about it before. I was like, Mom, remember when I fell through the table? And she literally was just freaking out. She's like, I'm gonna faint, stop talking about it. So they run downstairs, and my grandparents were actually there too that day. So they all come downstairs and they're all freaking out. So they call an ambulance, and then I remember my mom, like my dad like carried me up the steps, and my mom like went into the closet. She grabbed like a sweater and she wrapped it around my leg because obviously I'm like gushing blood everywhere. So she wrapped it around my leg, and once again, I remember it's just so weird how like you remember like little details and such like weird things. Like I remember it was actually my grandma's sweater, and it was one of my favorite sweaters that she had. And I remember thinking to myself like, no, I don't want her to use this on my leg because it's so pretty. So weird, right? But anyway, so they wrap it around my leg. They call an ambulance. And I remember sitting in the ambulance, and hey, you guys stop. I remember I was sitting in the ambulance, and I was like laying down like on a stretcher, and the guy's like, can you wiggle your toes? And I was like, yeah. So I was like wiggling my toes, like, can you move your fingers? I was like, yeah. You know, he was like, can you move your leg a little? And I was like moving my leg a little bit. So anyway, I get to the hospital. I think at this point I totally just like blank out. I remember like sitting in the hospital bed, but I don't remember anything else. But long story short, I ended up getting, I think 67 stitches on my leg, something like that. Maybe 63, somewhere around there. I got stitches on my leg, and it's actually in the sign of like this, it's like the Nike symbol. So every time anyone sees it, they're like, you have a Nike symbol on your leg, which I really do. So I'll show you guys it because I feel like you guys aren't gonna believe me if I don't show you. Okay, so I have like a huge beauty mark freckle thing, but this is the scar. And the scar actually, it's kind of like gone down a little bit since I was younger. Like when I was like, you know, young, it was like really, really dark. And I remember always like just like wondering if I should get like a scar removal surgery when I was little, but like I don't mind it now. I feel like it's a good story. But yeah, originally this was like super, super red, and it was really, really just like visible. Like you could see it from like really far away. But over the years, it's kind of like gone into my skin. I just gone my skin tone. If I hit it though, it hurts so bad. I don't know if any of you guys have scars. Let me know if you guys do, because I don't know if this is like normal, but whenever if something like bangs against it, or if I like run into something like right on the scar, it hurts so bad. Like I literally fall over and I'm like, oh, my leg. It's miserable. Yeah, that is my story of how I fell through a glass table. Like I said, I don't really remember what happened afterwards. I think at that point, like it kind of sunk into me, like, oh crap, I fell through a glass table. Like I think now it's time to like stop thinking and just like lay here and just let the doctors take control. But I think it's a good story. I like the little scar on my leg. I definitely would never get it removed. I remember though, like I said, when I was younger, I was always like, I'm gonna get the scar removed, but I didn't. And this is random, but I know a bunch of you guys are probably gonna ask about this shirt. It says, I'm just a vintage soul. I got this at the Country Living Fair, so there's like no like really like website you guys can get it on unless you just type it in. I'm sure you guys can find it. But anyway, just wanted to let you guys know that in case I get a bunch of questions about it, which I'm sure I will. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my first story time video. I'm excited I finally get to tell you guys about my scar, and you guys now know something different about me. If you guys have any scars on your body, then leave me a comment down below so I can kind of bond with you guys. But I hope you guys are all having an amazing day, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye! Will be. Say bye.